The Psychetruth live chat, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. I'll answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Thank you so much for being here. Hello and welcome to each and every one of you. It would take me a long time to give a shout out to everyone here, but please know I'm super grateful to have you, each and every one of you, and I want to welcome you to my weekly live chat. In case you don't know me, my name is Corrina Rachel, and I'm a certified holistic health coach. I have made hundreds of videos on the topics of weight loss, nutrition, dieting, stress. Some of you know me as an ASM artist, so thank you for coming. My apologies if it's a little strange to hear me talk in my normal voice. Not how some of you know me, if you know me from the ASMR channel. But basically, this is your opportunity to ask your health and wellness related questions. So really anything related to fitness, weight loss, nutrition, relieving stress, getting better sleep, really anything that revolves around the big umbrella of health and wellness, which is what I like to call it. So, for those of you in the chat room, I already see some questions coming in. You can certainly leave your questions there in the chat. If you put some question marks at the beginning of your question, it just makes it easier for me to see amidst all of these different comments piling in here. So I also want to remind you guys that this is a super chat, which means that at any moment I could start flying. All right, I will stop using that joke in every single live chat, but despite the absence of superpowers, this is a super chat, which means that you can leave a tip with your question. And guys, we super duper appreciate your generosity right now. Things in the world of YouTube are a little cray-cray at the moment. So we really do appreciate your tips, and if you do leave a tip with your question, YouTube will actually bump it up to the top, or at least it's supposed to, and I will go ahead and get to that question next. So really the only way to get a guaranteed answer is to leave a tip with your question. With that said, I'm going to just start flying through these questions, get through as many as I possibly can. There's a crown beside your name. Not sure what that means. Count Chocula, the vampire on Sesame Street. Cool. So I'm looking for, how do I crack my thighs? There's not a lot. Okay, so Joyful Jania asks, how do I crack my lower back and thighs? The only way that I can actually crack my own back is just by kind of putting my thumbs right along either side of my spine and just kind of bending back. And if there's some cracking to go on, that will generally make it work. Or just reaching up, stretching really long and tall, what they often call a good morning stretch. So if you're laying down, I think that's actually a little easier and takes some of the gravity off of your spine. But laying down and just stretching your arms up as tall as you can also help to crack your back. I don't know about cracking thighs, unfortunately. But we do have a lot of flexibility and stretching videos, back pain relief videos. So hopefully between you know, some of that stretching and flexibility work, you can relieve whatever pain you're experiencing that was the cause of your question. Victor Gold, Corrina, you promised to do a video on the top 10 sources of carbohydrates and your top 10 sources of protein. When is that going to be posted? Man, you know, so I've made like hundreds of videos over the years, and there's definitely been a couple instances where I've said I was going to make a video, and like some of them have been made and some of them haven't. Top 10 carbohydrates video, I felt like it was not, you know, so carbohydrates is a big topic for me, but what I've kind of done instead of a like top 10 sources of carbs video is do a lot of videos talking about like blood sugar and the glycemic index, and why processed carbohydrates like white bread, bagels, pasta, pizza crusts, all the things that everyone loves to eat, those refined carbohydrates are really terrible for us. But maybe a top 10 sources of healthy carbohydrate would be a cool video to do. Another consideration is that almost every food on the planet has carbohydrates in it, so it's a little hard to like narrow that down. But it would definitely be a good topic to address and just kind of let you know what are like healthy sources of carbohydrates. So some of the common ones that just comes to my head immediately are things like brown rice, quinoa, which is technically a seed, not a grain. So quinoa is actually gluten-free. So people on a gluten-free or grain-free diet, depending on how strict those regimens are, can typically still eat quinoa, which looks like quinoa. I've shown that in a couple different videos. But those are really good examples of unrefined carbohydrates, minimally processed carbohydrates. How does water make you lose weight? Joyful Jania again. I apologize if I'm not saying your name correctly there. It's maybe a little bit of a misnomer to say that water makes you lose weight. Okay, working out makes you lose weight, right? Because you're physically demanding energy. What makes us lose weight is putting a physical demand on the body, or demanding that your body exert energy. And as long as you aren't eating too much, and especially eating too much sugar and refined carbohydrates, then every time you make an energetic demand on your body has to go into the fat reserves stored all over you and start burning some of that fat for fuel, what's called a ketone. When your body turns the fat in your arm or in your butt or in your thigh into a source of energy for the body. So literally speaking, exercise is what makes you lose weight. But water, I happen to have some right here, believe it or not. Water is an essential part of this process because, okay, number one, water is what they call the universal solvent. And if you ever took chemistry class, or if you were not completely asleep in your chemistry class, then you know that every single chemical reaction on the planet involves water. Now, maybe there's some exceptions to that rule, but as a general rule of thumb, every single chemical reaction that occurs inside of our bodies, or inside of a food manufacturing plant, or inside of a science experiment, is gonna usually have water involved. So when we talk about your body metabolizing fat, turning stored fat into a ketone that can be used to give your body energy for exercise, a big part of that chemical process is water. So if we're dehydrated and we're not getting enough water, which is very common, people who drink sodas all the time or coffee all the time, a lot of people don't just drink water all the time, but it's a very, very good healthy habit to get into. And the reason is that every single chemical process your body's trying to do, whether it's detoxifying, whether it's clearing up your skin. We could talk about sweating, a really important detox process that requires water, right? And then also when we're talking about weight loss, fat metabolism, again, detox is a big component of that too. So water is a really essential part of your body being able to do those different chemical reactions. Also, just consider, I use this analogy a lot because it really just helps it hit home for me. If you think about when you've ever been, walking through the woods or walking around outside and you see a stagnant pond. So stagnant, not moving, right? The water is just sitting there. And usually there's like some scum across the top. Usually you can smell that stagnant pond from like maybe a mile away, right? And the whole idea is that when it's sedentary, water is just sitting, or anything is just sitting for that matter, it tends to accumulate bacteria, accumulate toxins. So if you compare that stagnant kind of disgusting pond image with the image of a beautiful flowing stream where the water is so clear you can see right down to the rocks on the bottom, and you can even see the little fishies or tadpoles swimming around in the water because it's so clean and so clear. This is what having movement through the body, so I use that analogy when I'm talking about the importance of getting physical movement and stretching and exercise, but it's also a good analogy for why we should drink more water. Because as we drink more water, it allows the body to flush things through. We could talk about the health of your kidneys, another really important detox organ. Okay, so whether we're talking about just your health and even we're talking about weight loss, because there's so much detoxification involved in losing weight, you need that water just to help everything flow through, to flush the bad stuff out of the body and to replenish the body with the hydrogen and oxygen that do so much for us. Because largely when we drink water, it actually gets broken down to its components. And for some chemical reactions, the hydrogen and the oxygen that are in the water end up being really crucial components of those chemical reactions. So drink more water. That was the whole point of that answer. And joyful Janaya, thank you so much for asking your question. Tim Key Madeline, how do you get motivated to work out? So this is a really good question. I'm going to pause for the cause of hydration because for some reason talking about water made me really thirsty. I don't know. That's a weird conundrum, right? Okay. So motivation to work out. I have a couple of different things that I want to say in response to this question because this is one of those things that is a challenge for everyone. There are definitely people out there who are really motivated to work out. They love working out. It makes them feel really good. And we can look at those people and be like, wow, I really admire how motivated you are. And that's awesome. But how do I get that? Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to mention. The first thing is you gotta find a way of working out that you enjoy doing. I mean, that's the simplest answer, because if you're trying to get the motivation up to go do something that you hate, to go do something that's miserable and boring and then yeah, it's going to be really hard to motivate yourself to do that. Like motivating yourself to pay your taxes. There's just nothing fun about that, right? Sorry, I keep lowering my chair down so that I can have better posture. So finding something that you enjoy. So a good example is, for me, I like playing tennis. I'm not very good at it. I don't keep score. I just do it because it's a way to be physically active and be outdoors and be getting my heart rate up, generally sweating really profusely also. But it's fun. And I don't have to try to convince myself to go. It's something that I want to go and do because it's fun. Hiking with my dog is another great example. I'm never like, ugh, I don't feel like going hiking. Except when it's 105 degrees outside, I'll be honest. Which it is right now. It's like really hot. But other than that, the idea is that it's something fun. Something that I enjoy. So if you can find a way to be physically active that you think is fun, then that is probably like the best way to motivate yourself. When I go to the park, I'll always see people LARPing, the live action role play stuff. And I'm like, man, that looks like so much fun. Like, those people are having a lot of fun and they're being active. What a great example. Join a soccer team or a flag football team. And if, you know, it's too much to think about, you know, doing something competitive, there's all kinds of just, I mean, depending on where you live, of course, all kinds of just fun outdoors activities that you can do that maybe aren't competitive. There's that website meetup.com. If you go up on meetup.com and put in fitness or exercise, chances are you can even find a group of people where you live who get together to go and work out, or who get together to play flag football or something like that. Swimming is another great example. Kayaking. If you've ever done, depending on if you have a body of water near where you live, but that stand-up paddle boarding, where it's kind of like you stand on, it kind of looks like a surfboard or something, but then you stand on it and paddle yourself around. Such a great workout, and it's actually really, really fun. So depending on what you like to do, you just kind of need to get creative. But that would be my first tip, is find things that you like to do that help you be active. When it comes to things like doing a workout video or going to the gym or going to yoga class, you know, there is always that part of us that really wants to do it. We know that we need to do it. We know that we'll feel better if we do it, but there's just some kind of voice in the back of our head that doesn't want to get off the couch and go. Motivating ourselves to get past that little voice can be difficult, so I just encourage you to start small. You know, the bigger your goal is, the harder it's going to be to motivate yourself to do it. So if you're like, okay, I got to go to the gym and work out for an hour, well, that can feel really overwhelming, especially if you've never spent an hour at the gym before. So maybe if you just said, you know what, I'm just going to go to the gym, just going to go there, and maybe you just walk around the gym, or do something really easy like walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then leave. Suddenly it's going to be a lot easier to motivate yourself to be like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the gym for 10 minutes. I know for me, once I got there, I would feel like, okay, I'm going to stay for more than 10 minutes. But the idea is that whatever it is you're trying to motivate yourself to do, break it down, chop it down to a smaller goal that feels reasonable. You know, saying something like, okay, I'm going to go jog for a mile. Is really overwhelming. But if you were like, hey, I'm just gonna go walk around the block one time. That's it. Walk around the block one time. You can start seeing how it's easier to motivate yourself if you break down your goals. And then as you start to reach those little goals, each time you just expand it a little bit longer. Maybe I'll go a little bit further. Maybe I'll, you know, jog instead of run. Maybe I'll put ankle weights on while I walk around the block one time. You know, there's all these different ways to kind of advance what we're doing, but still keep it really small and bite-sized and reasonable. And when you start feeling like you're just too overwhelmed to do something, look at that thing and see what you can do to break it down and make it easier. I'm going to stop giving examples because I could come up with like a bazillion examples in that little area. But if you guys want me to continue talking about motivation, motivating to eat healthy and all that kind of stuff, then that's going to make it a lot easier. Okay, so my computer's telling me it needs to restart. Let's say change time. Pick a time, 5 p.m. Okay, hopefully that worked. I'm gonna feel really bad if this computer suddenly restarts in the middle of my chat. I really hope that doesn't happen, but that would be the story of my life. Okay. Alexa Panks. Looking for question marks. Say and Groove. Corrina, when can you post a video on going to Walmart and saving money rather than eating fast foods every day? You said you would in the Average American Diet video. So yeah, you know, I definitely had this idea of actually showing like a grocery store trip for feeding a family and breaking all that down. And I actually did start doing that, and then it was just it was just kind of like too much of actually trying to like figure out how to make those meals. And then I don't have a family to feed or whatever, so I was just kind of like making all this food. And anyways, but I still want to do that. I just need to kind of figure out what the best way is to do that. You know, bottom line is that buying and preparing your own foods, okay, not only is more cost effective than eating fast food, even though it seems like fast food's really cheap, when you're buying an entire like family's meal at a fast food place, it adds up. And then when you consider you're doing that a couple times a week or even a couple times a day, it's always cheaper to buy the ingredients and then make those foods yourself. It's also like 100 times more healthy. Even if you were to buy the same foods that you were gonna eat at a fast food place, it's still healthier for you to make it at home and eat it. So hamburgers would still be healthier for you to make at home. Pizza, if you made it at home with fresh ingredients, it would still be way better for you than all of the MSG and the yoga mat chemical that they put in your typical pizza crusts at like Pizza Hut or whatever kind of a place. So I will work on that video, Say and Groove. I just got to figure out the best way to do it that doesn't cost me a lot of money and end up with a lot of wasted food. So I'm super excited to announce we have our first tip of the live chat. It's a super chat. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so Mike Love, thank you so much for your tip. Mike says, hi, cute cumber. That's cute, cumber. You have to love one. Have a fling with one. No way, buddy. Trader Joe's, Walmart, Whole Foods. Go. I'm not sure if you're asking me to like what would be my favorite out of those. Probably Trader Joe's. But anyways, if you have another question, Mike, let me know. I owe you an answer. I'm not quite sure if this was a question or not. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. But anyways, thank you so much for your tip. You are the superhero of this live chat thus far, so thank you, Mike. I really, really, really super appreciate it. Your generosity and your tips are what help us keep the doors open here at Psychetruth. Keep the video editors open. Keep the cameras rolling. Komal Preet. I'm losing my hair. I ate most of the multivitamins and medications which my doctor recommended. Can you let me know any other information about your lifestyle and your diet? Are you on a restricted diet? Did you recently change your diet? You know, if you for instance, start losing your hair at a higher rate than you were previously, a good thing to ask is, what has changed in my life in the last 6 months? Did you change your way of eating? Did you move to a different place? Did you start a different job? Have you been under more stress or getting less sleep? Basically just to kind of scan your mental Rolodex, so to speak, to figure out if there's any changes you have made. I have a feeling, because I recognize your screen name, I feel like you told me that you had recently changed to a vegan diet in a previous live chat. In which case, I would say that, you know, if you start losing your hair after changing to a different kind of diet, that would be a really good indication that your body doesn't like the new way of eating. Our hair and our skin and nails are largely made up of collagen. And when we eat animal products, we get a lot of collagen from those products. So when we go on a vegan diet, Problems with hair, skin, and nails can sometimes result because of the lack of collagen from animal sources. Now, it doesn't mean you have to start eating animal products again, but some kind of collagen supplement might be helpful. I will just warn you that most collagen supplements do come from animal products. I'm sure if you were to search for, hair loss on a vegan diet, you can probably find thousands of different posts or videos or things that people have made discussing ways that you can resolve that issue on a vegan diet. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I do feel like I kind of recall your question from a previous chat. Other than that, if you've got a health issue, a health problem that just can't seem to be resolved by vitamins and medications and whatever else, I encourage you to see a doctor of functional medicine. Because the difference with functional medicine and mainstream medicine is that in mainstream medicine, they'll often look at a problem and just kind of say like, oh, well, we have no idea why you suddenly have an autoimmune response or why you're suddenly losing your hair. But what they will do is say, oh, well, let's put you on some steroids. Let's put you on some of this. Let's see if this helps. So they're kind of having let's throw medications at the problem and see what works, and then that'll tell us what the problem was. The difference in functional medicine is that they're going to go and they're going to have you do a full workup blood analysis. And sometimes they'll also look at other bodily fluid analysis as well. But the whole idea is for them to get a really clear picture of what's going on in your body, identify the cause at the beginning, and then prescribe a treatment based on the cause that they were able to determine from actually looking at your blood work, looking at any nutritional deficiencies you may have, etc. So it's just a much more functional approach. And the whole reason it's called functional medicine is that the entire point is to identify what is not functioning properly in the body that's causing hair loss, or that's causing an autoimmune disorder, or that's causing acne, or whatever the problem might be, and then make a recommendation based on your body, rather than just kind of saying, oh, well, let's put you on this and put you on that and see if it works. Which, as most of us have by now experienced in the world of mainstream medicine, sometimes comes at a really high cost. And a lot of times doesn't actually resolve the problem. May even make more problems, because then a lot of those medications have their own side effects or their own toxicity to our liver that then poses another issue in our health. So doctor of functional medicine would be my recommendation. Hair loss is not a particular area of expertise for me. But collagen supplements would definitely be something to look into. Blackie 13 Hair Des. Am I not losing weight because of stress? Question mark, question mark, question mark. The answer is probably so. So stress, man, just thinking about the word stress makes me feel a little stressed out, I'll be honest. So pause for the cause. Okay, so stress. Stress can definitely, most certainly, be an inhibitor of weight loss. And there are several reasons why. I'm going to try to explain it as much as I can, as quickly as I can. The basic underlying concept that I think is so important to get is to imagine your body in survival mode, right? Because that's what governs everything that happens in our bodies, right? Our bodies want to survive. The whole reason that we store fat in the first place is as a survival mechanism, because our bodies don't necessarily know what the world is like now, right? And all of the kind of physical parts of our nervous system, our immune system, our body's ability to metabolize fat, our body's ability to detoxify, all of those systems are based on a much more kind of primal environment, you could say. So the reason that we store fat in the first place is to protect us from a potential famine. So the body is saying, oh man, there's tons of food right now. That's great. Well, I'm going to save some of this energy just in case we ever run out of food. Because if you start running out of food, guess what happens? Right? So the whole reason your body is storing fat is to try and protect you and to try and save your life. Second point. There are kind of two different what they call the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And basically what you need to understand about that is that when we're just in regular going through our day mode, right, the body is handling all of these different very important processes. So again, we can talk about the immune system. Our body's always detoxifying, right? Our kidneys are always working, our digestive tract's always working. These things are just constantly going on in the background. We can also talk about respiration, our breathing, right? Not to mention all of the work that our brain is doing, right? We're walking, we're talking, we're carrying stuff, we're thinking, we're planning. Well, when the brain and mind start to get stressed out, right? We start to feel overwhelmed. We start to feel worried. We start to kind of get that furrowing of the brow, right? And we're feeling stressed out. It actually changes the physical state that our body is in. And so all of the processes that the body is normally doing, when we go into that stress response or fight or flight, right? It actually turns off some of those other functions. So if you're familiar with the concept of triage, that's like where, you start crossing off all the less important functions. You just got to put all of your energy into the most important survival functions. So that's what happens when we're really stressed out. Our body starts saying, okay, I got to conserve energy. I can only do the absolute most important things that are going to help this body survive, because your body is thinking you've got to fight or flight. It doesn't know that your stress is just being created by a deadline or a bill, right? It perceives a physical danger and it physically changes. So when your body goes into that stressed out mode, fat metabolism, detoxification, immune system, and even digestive system, these things start to kind of take a back burner because they're not as important as you being able to fight or flight from the bear or, vampire or whatever it might be that caused that stress response. So that's why when we're really stressed out or we're not getting enough sleep, our body is not going to be able to metabolize fat as efficiently. I hope that made sense. It's definitely something that for me was like a very big kind of aha moment, so to speak, when I realized that stress isn't just something that exists up here. It causes physical changes in the body. It puts you into a completely different state. So reducing your stress, handling your stress, whether it's doing some yoga or meditation or just making time to go outside and relax and be in nature. Every person is going to unwind in a different way, but making time to reduce and handle your stress is really, really important, because until you can get your body out of that state of stress and panic, then a lot of those other things that we want, like we want to get stronger, we want to burn fat, those things start to kind of go by the wayside. Another thing you might notice is that when you're under a lot of stress, we tend to get sick. Why do we get sick when we aren't sleeping enough, when we're under a lot of stress? Well, it's because your immune system is one of those triaged functions that kind of takes a back burner. Because if you can't survive this moment running from this bear, it's not going to matter if your immune system is strong or not, right? So from the perspective of your body trying to survive, the immune system, healthy digestion, and burning fat all kind of go by the wayside. Another thing to consider is that the primary time that the body actually turns those fat molecules into ketones in order for your fat to get burned for energy, that primarily happens while we're asleep. Again, you can kind of think about, this is the primary time that your body gets a break from just those so many different functions that you're doing when you're awake. You're thinking, you're walking, you're carrying stuff. Your body's resources are just largely being consumed by all of your wakeful activities. Well, suddenly when you sleep, your body has time to do all of those functions that it couldn't do while you were awake. So repairing our cells, healing the body, building muscle tissue. So for those of you that are trying to bulk up and build muscle, again, getting plenty of sleep is really important, because the primary time that your body heals, repairs, and builds muscles is while you sleep. This is also the primary time that your body metabolizes and burns fat. So I have a lot of people that are like, Corrina, I work out all the time. I eat really well. I get up every morning at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. Why can't I lose weight? And I start asking, wow, it sounds like you're not getting enough sleep. It sounds like you're putting yourself under a lot of stress with trying to lose weight. So just remember that stress and sleep are like the antithesis. Well, however you want to see it. They're an important part of losing weight. And if you aren't getting sleep and you're really stressed out, then that's the antithesis of your body being able to actually lose weight. One of the easiest things you can do to improve your weight loss and your health for that matter is just getting more sleep. Doing things that relieve your stress, that help you smile, feel more relaxed, etc. Okay, crazy demons. Corrina, I don't feel supported by family or friends, and I think that's why I binge eat. How to create support for yourself. Okay. A very good question. This is kind of a fourfold question. So let me just start with binge eating. You are definitely right that binge eating tends to result from, or how do I want to say this? Tends to be a coping mechanism. So when we are reaching for food to fill an emotional void, or to just help us feel something. A lot of the time when we start kind of forming a relationship with food, or we become dependent on food to help us feel better, this is really just an example of food being used as a coping mechanism. So there's some source of sadness or emptiness that we feel, or apathy that we feel, and then because eating actually stimulates it stimulates the reward response in our brain. Okay, it does give us positive feelings. It releases hormones that make us feel good, right? Because the body wants us to eat, right? So we are rewarded when we eat. Unfortunately, in this day and age, most of us are not troubled by not having enough to eat. So the whole reward response associated with food ends up kind of becoming a bad thing because we have so much food around us that just like a drug addict is always reaching for drugs, the same kind of thing starts to happen for us, right? We're almost using food as a drug, would be another way to say that. So the first recommendation I would make is finding other coping mechanisms, other either activities or, I guess activities really, other things that you can do that can start to answer that feeling. Answer that feeling, in this case, feeling alone, feeling unsupported, feeling, those emotional pains. Rather than answering that with food, see what other ways you can come up with that can help that. So listening to music, or in my case, playing music, singing, banging on a drum, playing the piano. These types of things help me to express myself, help me to feel better and get my emotions outside. Whether you are someone who considers yourself creative or not, something like drawing, coloring, doodling, or crafting, anything like physical that you do, making stuff with your hands, or working in a garden, or making little crafts, or maybe you're more of a fixing stuff around the house kind of a person, hammering and sewing, whatever. There's tons of examples, right? The whole idea is to start just coming up with different things that can help you feel better, that give you an alternative to food. And I just encourage you to get creative, because everyone is different, and get out of any of those feelings like, oh, I'm not creative enough, I don't have any musical talent. It doesn't matter. The whole point of the activity is that it makes you feel better. So let go of all of those weird judgments and inhibitions that may be preventing you from finding other activities you enjoy. Second recommendation would be finding healthier foods to binge on. And I know that's a hard one, because when we are reaching for food to fill an emotional void or to resolve an emotional feeling, generally tends to be the unhealthy foods that we reach for. The alcohol, the sugar, the refined carbohydrates, fried foods, etc. And I know that because I'm human too, right? And I know what it feels like when you're having a bad day. And the last thing you're going to do is go eat a salad or something. But to the best of your abilities, if you can start, when you do feel yourself going into that emotional eating, whatever you can do to try and make it just a little bit healthier, a little bit better for you. So if it's chocolate and candy, maybe you can eat trail mix that also contains, nuts and little pepitas and sunflower seeds. Anything you can do to just kind of try to improve the nutrition of whatever it is you're binge eating. Switching gears to the other part of this question about not feeling supported by family and friends. I'm not sure if you mean you're not feeling supported in general, or if you mean you're not feeling supported in your health and weight loss journey. So I'll take those out of order. One of the most awesome things about the internet is that we are suddenly in a position where we can be in contact with people all over the world. People who share our interests, people who, maybe we never would have met in a bazillion years, but now we can find them through our common interests. So I just encourage you, those of you out there who feel like your friends and family aren't supporting you trying to eat healthier, aren't supporting you trying to exercise, and this is really common. Your mom or your sister or whoever, they're like, oh yeah, of course you're going to eat a salad. Oh, of course you're going to go work out. They're probably kind of jealous because they wish that they had the same motivation that you do. And since they don't, they're going to try to discourage you. I see it all the time. So find a support group of people, online that are also having those same, intentions to improve their health or get more exercise. Finding like-minded people, even if it's just online. or just on Facebook or whatever, I think can really help to give us that feeling of support. Now, as far as just not feeling supported in general, I don't really have a whole lot of tips, so to speak, on that. For your family, I would encourage you to just talk to them and tell them how you're feeling. And depending on who your family is, I would imagine that, you know, them just hearing from you that you feel unsupported and that you feel like it's making you have this kind of eating disorder, this binge eating problem, that hopefully that will kind of be a wake-up call for them that they need to be more supportive. They need to be more loving. Sometimes people just don't realize how their attitude affects other people. So sometimes just telling someone, like, hey, I really don't appreciate it when you make fun of me for going to the gym. I really don't appreciate it when you try to tempt me with pizza while I'm trying to be healthy. You know, so whether it's your family or your friends, you know, maybe just telling them how you feel can go a long way. You know, and then lastly, I hate to say this, but, you know, if we start realizing that the people around us are having a toxic effect on us, and then they don't seem to care when we talk to them about it, we need just to try and surround ourselves with other people. And I know that is not something we want to hear. Obviously, with our family, there's not a lot we can do about that. But to whatever extent you can, so much of our health and well-being stems from the people that we surround ourselves with. So, you know, as much as we can, surround ourselves with positive people, and then be positive people ourselves that other people want to be around. You know, can kind of be like the last resort if talking to those people doesn't help. Crazy demons, I wish you the best of luck. I know that is not an easy situation to be in, but you are not alone, okay, in that situation. And I feel really confident that if you start reaching out to other people, talk to your friends and family, hopefully you can, you know, resolve that situation altogether. Okay, so I gotta pull out the guitar again because guess what, guys? It's a super chat, and Simbasai Kahari is making it super right now. All right, I got up on the goofy side of the bed today apparently, but all of you probably know that about me already, so you're not surprised. Simbasai Kahari, thank you so much for your generous tip here in the live chat. Simbasai just says, thank you for all these open chat sessions. Also got Psychetruth Plus 2. So awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying Psychetruth Plus. We're actually kind of transitioning our branding of that. We're going to start calling it Wellness Plus, because I just feel like it kind of conveys better to people who maybe don't know what Psychetruth is. Like, who is that? Just kidding. But anyways, so yes, Wellness Plus is our subscription service. It's only $5 a month, but we are posting 10 to 20 videos a week up there. And it's basically just an extenuation of the YouTube channel. So lots of yoga and workouts. We've got a whole lot of like guided meditations, relaxing massage tutorials. YouTube kind of showed that they are, they don't consider massage to be advertiser friendly. So we've been posting less massage on this channel and on our ASMR channel, but we have a ton of massage videos up on Wellness Plus. We also have a 30-day ab challenge that is all filmed now and about halfway edited. So that's going to be coming out soon. Jess is making a 30-day yoga challenge that's going to be coming out very soon as well. So we're just super excited about Wellness Plus. It's just giving us this opportunity to create really nice comprehensive series where it's really easy to find all the different parts, unlike on YouTube where it's just been, you know, it's kind of difficult to find all 10 parts of the program or whatever. Yeah, and we're uncensored. We don't have to deal with advertisers. We don't have to deal with YouTube. We don't have to deal with crazy algorithms. So it's just given us this great freedom to produce the content we want to produce as much content as we want to produce, etc. So Wellness Plus, so glad that you are on it, Symbasai, and I'm glad that you are enjoying your subscription there. Thank you so much for your tip. I know I have answered some of your questions in previous chats, but if you have a question today, be sure to leave it because I certainly owe you an answer. Thank you so much for your generous tip. It means the world to us here at Psychetruth. I tell you what. Whoa! Lots of comments just came in here. Man, somebody is trolling me today. Amanda, Mr. Nibble's mommy. Amanda, thank you so much for helping me take care of these crazy trolls today. I really appreciate you. Looks like you've been busy deleting some messages here. I don't know if they show up to y'all, but they show up to me. But there are a couple people in this chat right now who are trolling the bleep out of me. And luckily, my dear friend Amanda, who I owe you a call back. I saw that you texted me. My dear friend Amanda, taking care of me today, helping keep this chat clean and appropriate as much as possible. Okay, let's see. Looking for question marks. Okay, Ella Velavis. How do you stop bloating for good? I've been drinking water, eating healthy, doing everything that's supposed to help, but it doesn't. And then it looked like there were several people who answered. So I just kind of want to cool. So bloating. And there's just kind of like so many comments here now. I'm just going to go ahead and answer even though I can't. I was going to read the other people's answers, but it's just too convoluted in that little chat right there. Bloating. This is a really good question. Think of, your digestive tract. Your digestive tract, I don't know exactly how long it is, but I think it's like miles. We're talking like miles of large intestine, small intestine, transverse colon, and I don't even know, right? There's a lot of stuff. Bottom line is that, bloating can result from there being a blockage or a holdup anywhere in that, miles and miles of digestive tract. So eating healthy, exercising, drinking plenty of water. These are the things that I think you said you're already doing. Those are very, very important components. But it doesn't necessarily resolve a problem that you might have in your digestive tract. So oftentimes when we are eating the average diet, we actually sustain some damage to either our liver, which is a really important detoxification organ. We also have our gallbladder, which helps to process fats. So people who eat or previously have eaten a lot of fatty foods, fried foods, will typically have gallbladder issues. We also have our kidneys. Again, very important for detoxification. Very important to be drinking lots of water. So once you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're drinking water, and it's not seeming to do anything, the next thing I would kind of, seek to do is how do I repair my digestive tract? Because now I've, got my lifestyle on track, I'm eating right and everything, but something is still, not functioning the way it's supposed to. So again, this is a great place to mention functional medicine. If you have the ability to see a doctor of functional medicine, that'd probably be my first recommendation, because they're going to actually probably be able to determine exactly where the problem is. But without seeing a doctor, you can certainly take measures of your own to try and repair. So I happen to have some probiotics right here. I just received these in the mail, and I anticipated there might be a question on bloating and belly fat, so I wanted to show the probiotics in the live chat. So probiotics are fantastic for helping to heal your gut. Okay, when I say heal your gut, I'm talking about these miles of digestive tract and the fact that inside, okay, the lining of your intestines and stomach and all these different things, right, can actually become kind of inflamed from previously eating processed foods. Things like sugar, refined carbohydrates, and alcohol all kind of kill off the good bacteria in your gut. And it also just kind of makes the lining itself kind of inflamed. And we sometimes can get what they call leaky gut, which is where the lining of your digestive tract, it becomes permeable, or suddenly things that are in your digestive tract can exit the digestive tract and enter your bloodstream. This is kind of getting maybe a little more intense than just a bloating problem, but it's something to consider. If you've got a lot of digestive tract issues, it's also something that probiotics can help. I would definitely say that if you have bloating issues or just stubborn belly fat issues, a probiotic supplement is a really good place to start, because it just kind of helps to replenish all of the really important microbes or good bacteria inside of your gut. Really good place to start. Another thing would be actually, doing a cleanse, or just trying to support some of those major detox organs that I mentioned before. So your liver, gallbladder, kidneys, etc. Liver is a big one because it's kind of the like the final filter, so to speak. So if your liver is sluggish, what they call, so basically the question is, do things move quickly through the liver? Is it quick and efficient at detoxifying, or is it slow and sluggish at detoxifying? So if your liver has been under assault from alcohol and sugar and processed foods, then it may completely resolve the problem, simply to put some time and effort into helping to repair your liver. Things like watermelon, olive oil, apple cider vinegar, beets, these are all fantastic foods for your liver and your gallbladder for that matter. So good things to add in there. And if you really want to go for it, I encourage you to do a liver cleanse. If you put in liver cleanse on the channel, I actually showed, I did a review on a liver cleanse that was by the Global Healing Center. So basically you go on a really clean diet. It's not a fast. You're still eating foods. You're just eating minimally processed, super healthy foods. And then they actually have like a herbal liver supplement thing that you take as well during that time. But anyhow, doing a juice cleanse or a juice fast, doing a liver cleanse, or just, looking at, doing some research to determine, what are healthy foods to support my liver? What are the worst foods for my liver? And just start to take your healthy diet and then even supercharge it a little bit more. But healthy liver, gallbladder, kidneys, probiotics to help get your digestive tract healthy and functioning, that should really help to resolve bloating issues. And again, I saw somebody ask, is it a specific food that seems to cause it? That'd be another thing to consider. Keeping a little food journal or just like a food diary where you can kind of keep track of bloating was really, really bad on this day. And then you can look and see, well, what did I eat? the last couple days before my bloating got really, really bad. And you can kind of be a little Sherlock Holmes in trying to determine if there's a specific food that's making the problem worse. General rule of thumb, your processed foods, processed sugars, and refined flour or white flour are going to be definitely big causes of bloating in and of themselves. Oh yeah, oh yeah, silica, also good for hair, nails, and bones. Christian Thompson threw that in there. Somebody's asking about Robert Gardner, the massage therapist. Ivan 2008-04 is asking about Robert Gardner. Actually, Robert has, man, probably a couple of dozens of videos that we have been filming over the last couple months. Again, because YouTube has shown that they do not like massage videos. We're not posting as much massage here on the YouTube channel, but there is a lot of massage up on Wellness Plus, including a lot of Robert Gardner videos. He has definitely been producing a lot. Haven't filmed with him super recently, but I know that we have a date coming up pretty soon. But I'm pretty sure that he's got, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 10 different massage series up on Wellness Plus. And those are things that are not on YouTube. So just so you guys know, Wellness Plus does have a little bit of crossover. There's a couple videos that we thought were really, really good that have been published on YouTube that we also put on Wellness Plus. But probably like 80% or more of the content on Wellness Plus is all new. Stuff that is not available anywhere else. Some of it's also up on Amazon. So those of you with Amazon Prime may recognize some of the titles. But there's a lot of stuff up there on Wellness Plus that is not available on the YouTube channel. You can find a link to Wellness Plus. We've been putting it basically in the top of the video description of all of our videos. Also, if you just, imagine if you just search, I don't know. I think we have wellnessplus.com. I'll have to look into that. But probably the easiest way to find it is by just going to the video description of any of our videos, and you will see a link for Wellness Plus. Brandon C is asking about kefir or kefir, however I've heard it said a lot of different ways, kefir. It's not bad. It is a fermented drink. So in the same family with yogurt, right? Except kefir uses different bacterial strains. So typically in yogurt, there's like lactobacillus, and I can't remember the other ones, but there's different strains of bacteria inside of kefir. And I've actually known several people that when they started drinking kefir, it totally resolved a lot of their digestive tract issues. Again, the fermented foods are probiotic. So the same kind of benefits that you can get from taking a probiotic supplement like this one, you also can get from eating fermented foods. Now, it is worth mentioning that if you're buying kind of a typical store-made brand, of yogurt or pickles, or whatever, those are not going to have those probiotic benefits. They're typically going to be so flavored and so much sugar in them that you kind of lose the health benefits. But if you were to have just like plain yogurt, I really like the brand White Mountain. Makes a really great just like healthy yogurt. And then you can add your own fruit or honey or maple syrup or whatever to sweeten it. Then you can actually get a whole lot of those health benefits. And same thing with the kefir. Lots of different probiotic health benefits from those fermented foods. Other examples would be kombucha, sauerkraut. Again, your kind of typical sauerkraut may not have so many health benefits, but I see lots of different sauerkraut, products available now where it actually tells you like the content of probiotics that it contains. So if you like those fermented foods, this should be very, very good news for you because they are very, very good for your gut. Ravi Mehe, are dark greens more giving of energy? Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, chard, those are definitely your more nutrient dense vegetables. In terms of energy, I would say that yes, because they contain more nutrients, they will give you more energy than a less nutrient dense vegetable like iceberg lettuce. General rule of thumb, the more pigment in the vegetable, the more nutrients it's going to contain. So dark leafy greens have more nutrients than, like a really pale iceberg lettuce. Beets, very, very nutrient dense as compared to something like a squash, a yellow squash, which doesn't have as many nutrients in it. It's not a hard and fast rule. There probably are some, lighter colored vegetables out there that still have a lot of nutrients, but certainly in terms of greens, that can be kind of an easy rule of thumb to go by. So yes, I would say since they have more nutrients, they have more energy. As a general answer, because I saw somebody else asking about like foods that give you energy, or why I don't have energy when I'm eating clean. One consideration is that the body's ability to turn the food that we eat into energy, and the body's ability to turn our stored fat reserves into energy, is something that is going to be kind of thrown off from eating processed foods. So if you are, you're eating really healthy now, but you're noticing that your energy levels are low. Like, what is going on? Why can't I get my energy up? It would be an important thing to consider, like, how long have you been eating that way? So, a lot of being healthy or losing weight is just kind of being realistic with ourselves, right? So let's say that you're 30 years old. Let's say for 25 years, you were eating a diet of processed foods, fast foods, whatever. And actually, I'll just go ahead and make this my example. So probably until I was like 20, I was eating the average American diet. I really had no understanding of health or nutrition, like, at all until I was in college. And I kind of had my aha moment inside of a cell biology class. But up until then, I was eating fast food and microwave meals and sodas, and all of that. Well, I probably started transitioning my diet while I was in my early 20s, and now I'm 32. And so I've probably been eating healthy for about 10 years. And I feel really good. I don't have energy problems as much as I can, you know. Just as a general rule of thumb, I consider myself to have like pretty good energy levels, feel good, feel healthy. But I will tell you that that didn't just come immediately. You know, it took a process of me transitioning into healthier foods. And at first, it felt like, man, this is going to be so hard. How do I stop eating these things? Luckily, I had a very strong conviction of understanding the health importance of transitioning that helped motivate me to make those changes. But when it comes to things like your energy levels, your cravings, just kind of understand that if you're in that transitional period from moving from a really processed food diet and trying to eat cleaner and exercise and all that, there's going to be a certain amount of time that it takes for your body to just transition into your new lifestyle. And so if your body has been used to you always eating sugar and refined carbohydrates and donuts, then it's going to just take a little bit of time for your body to transition to your new healthy diet. But once you've been eating clean and healthy for, 1 to 3 years, and again, it's going to depend on like how long were you eating unhealthy before? How unhealthy were you before? Right? But once you can kind of get through that transitional period, you'll start to find that you crave the healthier foods. The unhealthy foods are no longer even tempting anymore. Your energy levels start to come up. If you were trying to lose weight, your body finally starts to make those changes. Any type of change that we make to our lifestyle or to our diet just takes a little bit of time for our body to get used to it. As far as the best foods for energy, the cleanest source of energy from your body actually comes from healthy fats. One of the big reasons that I'm such a big proponent of eating healthy fats and having a good representation of healthy fats at every meal and definitely at every snack. And it's because it's the cleanest form of energy for your body to burn. But again, it can just take some time for your body to transition out of always burning sugar, always burning refined carbohydrates, and then just kind of get into the mode of burning those fats for fuel. And the more that you're starting to reduce the sugar, reduce the carbohydrates, reduce the white bread and stuff like that, your body will start to relearn how to burn fat instead. And the more that you try to get your intake of those foods down to zero, your body becomes more and more efficient at burning fat for fuel. Once your body gets back into its healthy metabolism, you should see that your energy levels also start to balance out. So I hope that that is helpful to you. I feel like that was kind of a long answer, but hopefully it kind of addressed like a lot of different considerations that people are having. Just a general rule of thumb, be patient with your body. Understand that the same way you can't just make some big giant change overnight, our bodies are kind of the same way. They need some time to transition. And so just be patient. Melanie Troutman is asking about that drink, Bai, B-A-I. An antioxidant infusion, proprietary sweetener, erythritol, and stevia extract. So erythritol, I believe, is a sugar alcohol. which is not as bad for you as artificial sweeteners, but it's also not a natural sweetener. So I personally try to stay away from the sugar alcohols like erythritol. This also has natural flavors. You know, the problem that I have when I see natural flavors on an ingredient level is that if you go to FDA.gov and you actually look, they have an entire index of like every single food chemical that there is, okay? When you look up natural flavors, it's not just one chemical, and it's not just 10 chemicals that can use that name. There is a redonkulously long list of different chemicals that can go by the name natural flavors. Basically, a natural flavor is anything taken from something that exists in nature. But that's a really, really broad definition. So there's a couple of specific chemicals that I have learned about that have completely destroyed my ability to eat anything with natural flavors. And it's something that I really try to avoid at all costs. So there's something called the beaver butt juice chemical. Not colostrum. What is that fucking beaver butt juice chemical? It's so funny. I've talked about this so many times, but I always get castoreum. Yes, there it is. I don't know, I was thinking colostrum, but okay, castoreum. So it is the excudate from the castor sacs of the mature North American beaver. All right, so basically what they do is they're able to, and this was kind of discovered in the perfume industry, if I recall correctly, that there is actually this certain gland that is just located near the butt of the beaver. It's not actually like in it, so to speak, but it's close enough, okay, that it has been endearingly called beaver butt juice. Well, anyways, from these castor sacs, they're able to create this chemical called castoreum. And it is very typically used in things that are vanilla flavored or raspberry flavored. So whenever I see a red drink that has natural flavors in it, I won't drink it. I won't drink it. Now, I do think that, you know, just because some natural flavors are bad, it doesn't mean that all of them are bad. But at the same time, when I see that on an ingredient label, it just tells me that, you know, hey, this product contains some things that I don't have any way of determining what they are. That's the thing about natural flavors, is you have no way of knowing which natural flavor is being used. So anyways, I refuse to eat things that have natural flavors in them. So this Bai drink is one of those. BAI. I've seen those in the store. I've never bought one. I've never tried one. You know, the thing about antioxidants, you know, all your fruits will be a great source of antioxidants in one level or another. Green tea is fantastic. Matcha, which is unprocessed green tea, or basically, in order to make the typical green tea that you find, they dry the tea leaves. Well, matcha is actually made by grinding up the tea leaves before they're dried. So matcha is like the highest antioxidant content of virtually anything else on the planet. So if you want antioxidants, I encourage you to drink green tea or find yourself some matcha. I'm doing a video on matcha coming up soon. Or just eat fruit. Berries, strawberries, blueberries. Eat the fruits. And then not only do you get the antioxidants from them, but you get all the other health benefits that are present in the fruit too. It's like a double win. So, unfortunately, most of the different drinks that I find in the gas station and grocery store, I will not buy. The only exception is kombucha. Love kombucha. Typically, your kombucha brands are going to use, you know, pretty natural ingredients, healthy ingredients. and coconut water is the other thing that I pretty much live on right now. But other than that, there are not very many other drinks that I will buy in a gas station. Topo Chico, the sparkling mineral water, that would be one. But all of those V8 drinks are terrible. All of the Minute Maid juices are terrible. Christina Akasha. Corrina, I wanted to know your thoughts on Dr. Sebi's teachings when it comes to alkaline foods. Okay, so the whole acid-alkaline debate that's been going on for, I think, a couple of years now, really. So I did a video on alkaline water probably 2 years ago. Maybe, I don't know, sometime between a year and 2 years ago. And when I did the research for that video, I actually learned some things that I didn't completely understand. So when we hear people say, like, oh, cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment, and so we need to eat more alkaline foods, this is kind of a, I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, what I want to say is that, number one, the pH level, or whether something is acid or alkaline, the ideal pH level is going to be different virtually for every different part of your body. Your skin has a certain ideal pH. Your stomach has a certain ideal pH, which is very, very acidic. In order for our stomach to digest the foods we eat and to kill the microbes or bacteria that might be present on the foods we eat, it has to be a very, very acidic environment. Just to drive home that concept, have you ever noticed how a dog can eat virtually anything and tend to not get sick? Like, your dog might be walking along and find some, like, you know, smoldering piece of meat laying in the parking lot, and it can eat it and it can survive. It's because a dog's stomach is even more acidic than ours. Okay, so every different part of your digestive tract, different ideal pH. Inside of your cells, or your intercellular fluid, also has a different ideal pH. And even that changes depending on whether that cell is in your eyeball or in your skin or in your heart or in your blood. So, you know, also the idea of testing your pH by testing your urine is also kind of a misnomer, because your urine has a different pH than your interstitial fluid, and a different pH from, you know, even your saliva. And actually, the saliva pH will change when we smell certain foods, or when we anticipate that we're about to eat. The body will actually prepare and start changing the pH of our saliva. So the whole concept of, like, testing our pH and stuff like that is kind of a confusion, because it's not actually an easy thing to do to determine, well, what's the pH of my blood, or what's the pH inside of my cells. When we talk about eating alkaline foods or drinking alkaline water, this also poses another issue, because the stomach actually needs to be acidic. Now, one thing I noticed when studying alkaline foods, and years ago I even did a top 10 alkalizing foods video, what you notice is that those alkalizing foods are really, really healthy for you. So it's kind of like, you know, you don't just eat the foods because they're alkalizing. You eat the foods because they're healthy, and interestingly enough, they found that some of the effects of these healthy foods is that they also help create a more alkaline environment of, typically they're looking at, like, blood pH, which is interesting, because then we will typically test our saliva, our urinary pH. We're not even, like, seeing the whole picture. But anyways, so you want your stomach to be acidic. And And I'm not saying that alkaline foods are bad and that you shouldn't eat them. They're very, very healthy for you. Okay, but alkaline water should be used with caution because you don't want to drink alkaline water within 30 minutes of a meal. Okay, you also don't want to take antacids. If you're someone with heartburn, you want to take something like apple cider vinegar because it actually makes your stomach more acidic. Just remember that in order for your digestive system to work the way it's supposed to, your stomach needs to be very acidic. So stay away from those antacids, and especially those prescription antacids like Prilosec or Zyrtec, or I don't even know what they're called. But bottom line is to, maybe just not be so, just recognize that alkalinity is just one of dozens of different factors related to our health. The last thing that I want to say is that you kind of have to know that the pH or acidity or alkalinity of each different tissue and each different part of your body is a product of a lot of different factors all coming together. So your alkalinity or your body's pH isn't a lever that you can just I'm going to become more alkaline by drinking alkaline water or whatever. It's a much more complex system than that. So ultimately, pH just becomes one factor among many in a healthy lifestyle, as opposed to a factor that you can manipulate to make your body more or less healthy. It's kind of more of a result of a healthy lifestyle than something that you can manually change in order to become more healthy. Now, with all of that said, there's definitely a lot of information out there. I'm not specifically familiar with Dr. Sebi's alkaline foods research, so maybe I am missing the point completely when it comes to that topic. But it's something to just kind of note, especially when you're seeing all of these different alkalizing water products and foods that are, maybe promoting themselves on that one basis alone, then maybe there's a little bit more than meets the eye when it comes to that topic. Grim Ace. Oh dear. Sleep apnea. I apologize. I actually don't really know much about sleep apnea. Grim Ace says, maybe I should get a sleep mask, but I tried one out and it was so powerful it blew my ears out. It's like a sleep mask that also covers your ears. I don't know. I'm a big fan of sleeping in a sleep mask. I am not going to address sleep apnea though, because that is not an area of expertise for me. Guys, I am coming into the final frontier of this live chat. I don't know if that was the exact correct words to use, but last chance for questions. Productive Beast, I'm not ignoring your questions. Can you guys just kind of please try to understand that there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments flowing through? I can't read them all. I can't answer them all. It would be virtually impossible. I'd have to sit here for 5 hours to actually read every single question out. If you really want a guaranteed answer, leave a tip with your question. Right now, Productive Beast, I'm reading you being a jerk about me not answering your question. So if you want to leave your question again, I'll try to answer it for you. But guys, when you leave a comment that's like, why do you keep ignoring my question? Why don't you answer my question? Like, it's pointless because I can't go back up and find your question among like 200 bazillion comments that are just like flooding in faster than I can even read them. Anyways, man, this is just really frustrating to me. I really do my best to try and come here and answer y'all's questions. I said at the beginning that it's virtually impossible for me to answer all of them. So please try to appreciate that I'm doing my very best. And rather than assaulting me for not answering your question, you can just leave your question again. And if I see it, I'll answer it. Okay? It's not like I'm actively trying to ignore someone. Okay? I promise. And yeah, you know what? I don't know why people can't super chat from their phone. Thanks, YouTube. Thing. But anyways, yeah, more questions in 5 hours. I would have to take a bathroom break in the middle. I just have to pee so bad by the time I get to the end of the live chat. I'm like, oh, dying. Can't imagine. Can't imagine going more than 2 hours. Definitely need to take a bathroom break. So Productive Beast totally asked you to leave your question again. You didn't. Oh, but thank you. You said relax. I love you. That's sweet. I appreciate that. Cool. So I am, I guess, gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'm getting the sign from my boss. But I love doing live chat. I would do it for like the entire day if I could. So now I talked about needing to pee, and now I actually really do need to pee. Dang, isn't that funny how that happens? Anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and, sing y'all out here today. I want to thank all of you so much for being here. I apologize for shaking everything up here. Apologize that I got a little bit upset just now because I just, like, I just want people to not be frustrated and try to understand that I'm really doing my best here. I promise. I come back every single week to do this. So if I didn't get to your question today, come back next week. Guys, thank you so much. Please consider checking out Wellness Plus if you would like to see even more of the same content, types of content that we have here on the channel. Just more of it. It was time for live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Thank you so much to my lovely moderators. You guys were working hard today because it was a troll storm up in here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you everyone for your questions, everyone for your tips. I can't wait to see you guys again next week. Same bat time, same bat place. Come back and see me again. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will see you guys on this coming Wednesday, 1 week from today, if not sooner. Bye, guys.